48 teams, 12 groups, a brand new knockout round that's never existed before in World Cup history. And buried inside all of this is one rule so strange that a team could lose 2 of their 3 group games and still move on to the next round. That's not a typo. That's the actual format now. So why would FIFA build a system where losing is sometimes fine? Stick around, and because by the end of this video, that rule is going to make total sense. Let's break it down. For decades, the World Cup worked like this: 32 teams, 8 groups of 4. Each team plays the other 3 in its group. Top 2 move on, bottom 2 go home. Simple, clean, everybody understood it. In theory, that system was perfect. In practice, or it left a lot of countries out in the cold. For 2026, the tournament jumps from 32 teams to 48. That's not a small bump. That's nearly a 50% increase. And it's happening for a reason. This is the first World Cup ever hosted by 3 countries at once: the US, Mexico, and Canada. More hosts, more stadiums, more time zones to fill. So FIFA figured, why not more teams too? More countries get to play, more fans get to watch their national team on the world stage. Sounds great, right? Here's where it gets interesting. This sounds simple. It isn't. In the old format with 8 groups, only 16 out of 32 teams advance, exactly half. Clean and fair. Now 32 out of 48 teams advance. That's 2/3 of the entire tournament, moving on to the next round. You could finish dead last in some groups and still be fine. Imagine a job where 2/3 of applicants get hired. That's basically the new group stage. The top 2 teams from each group advance automatically. That's 24 teams, but there are 8 more spots left to fill. Where do they come from? The 8 best third-place teams across all 12 groups. So picture this. Your team loses 2 games, but loses them by a respectable score, while some other group's third-place team got absolutely destroyed in all 3 of theirs. Congratulations, you just leapfrogged them into the knockout rounds based on math, not results. You know the type. The team that backs into the playoffs and everyone online is mad about it. That's basically built into the system now. Since 32 teams now make it out of the groups instead of 16, FIFA had to add an extra knockout round to fit everyone in. It's called the round of 32, and it didn't exist before. That means the path to the trophy just got longer. The team that wins it all in 2026 will have to win 8 games total to lift the trophy. That's 1 more game than the champion had to win in Qatar back in 2022. So winning the World Cup just got harder, even though more teams technically have a chance. With 12 groups instead of 8, comparing third-place teams across all those groups gets messy fast. Goal difference, goals scored, head-to-head records, even fair play points based on yellow and red cards all come into play if teams are tied. And yes, if it's still tied after all of that, they draw lots. As in literally pulling names in the year 2026 for a tournament worth billions of dollars. Here's the honest take. More teams means more countries get a real shot at World Cup glory, and that's genuinely exciting. Smaller nations get a stage they never had before, but it also means more group stage games that don't matter as much, and a system where advancing isn't always about who's better. Sometimes it's about who got luckier with their group's results. Remember that rule: you lose 2 games and still advance? It's not a glitch. It's the direct result of expanding from 32 to 48 teams without changing the size of the groups. More teams in, same group structure, so more wiggle room had to be built in somewhere. Here's the one sentence that sums up the entire 2026 World Cup format. It got bigger to make room for more countries, and the messy math is simply the price of that bigger door. Will this format actually create more magic and more underdog stories? Or will it just mean more group games nobody remembers by the quarterfinals? That's the real question. Heading into June 2026. If this finally made the new format click for you, subscribe, because once the tournament actually starts, this format is going to get a lot more interesting fast.